Hi, my name is Jaffa, and have you noticed where I'm standing? This city is happy. It's very happy. It's considered the happiest city in the world. It's also the home of Legos, which slightly coordinates with the colorful constructions on these canals of Copenhagen. Copenhagen, it's the most popular city in all of Scandinavia. The Danes own twice as many bicycles as they do cars. They're also the 5th largest exporter of food in the world. The Alpha Show? The leading exporter of stereotypes in the world. So while the Danes are exporting food, today I'm here in Copenhagen looking to export the thoughts and stereotypes that the Danes may have on Americans. So, what are some of the stereotypes the Danish people have about Americans?
Eat a lot of burgers,
Yeah.
shoot guns and stuff, like real Republicans, I think sometimes is the stereotype also.
Also that most of Americans are really fat, I think. And
Yeah. It's really like either they're really health freaks and yoga enthusiasts, or they're
Really-
from Texas and shoot a lot of guns and eat a lot of burgers and are really
Yeah.
fat. Yeah. So it's like really either way, it's really extreme.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys get these stereotypes from?
Also, of course, movies, but also I've been watching a lot of Michael Moore's documentaries. Yeah, also the internet, but I think mostly movies actually.
Yeah. Movies and TV series.
When it comes to stereotypes, what are some of the stereotypes Danish people have on Americans?
One stereotype will be the cowboy, and one stereotype would be the California kind of person, very spacey, open-minded person. One stereotype would be the rigid Republican, fighting all what most Danes stands for.
And any other stereotypes about Americans?
I think it goes in two directions, really. One stereotype about the great America that, is fighting for good stuff, and then there's sort of the corrupt and hard to comprehend America that fights free abortion and gay marriage and environmental stuff, which is really scary.
And where'd you get these stereotypes from?
From movies and mass media.
And do you think they're true?
Yeah, to some extent, I think they're true. Yeah.
What are some of the stereotypes that Danish people have about Americans?
What they say, the education is really bad, and you eat a lot. I don't know, it's like we look at you people and you have a horrible politics, international politics. I'm not sure how it's inside living in America, but it's like internationally you're not that well looked at. I mean, look at the campaigns going on right now. I mean, how can anyone vote at Trump? I mean, look at him and the things he's saying and so far. So no, it scares me that some of America is not that well educated to see what's good and bad. Scary. So stereotype will go that Americans, I mean, it's in their own way. You can't deal with that.
They're on their own world.
Planet, own planet, yeah. Okay. But I like America though, I have to say. And I like American people, very warm and welcoming always.
Any more stereotypes about Americans that Danish people have in general?
I think everything's over the top. I mean, it's a lot of like big salad, big cokes. I mean, everything is like large and huge, but I don't know. I think Danish people look at America and have, of course, respect for the country as well, but political way, we don't like you as much. You've done enough damage in some parts of the world.
I've never visited America, but I don't want to do it because I just don't. I think also you are too nice to people, and then it's not always as genuine as it seems. So you're a little bit too nice.
I've been to America a lot of times and I actually like it. I think they're really sweet.
When it comes to stereotypes, what are some of the stereotypes Danish people have on Americans?
First of all, I would say when I'm there, the stereotypes I have from here never fit. So I can tell you the stereotypes that I don't see when I get there. Yeah. But the stereotypes are that American people are very open. They are very, very friendly. They always ask, how do you do? Then as Danish people, we think that it means that they actually want to know how we're doing. So there's a sense that we can very quickly get a close connection, but then to get really, really close,
it's very difficult. Danish people are more closed, but then it's easier to get extremely close. Just takes a longer time, but very, very open-minded. Then we also think that I would say that Americans are maybe very split. Some of them are, you could say, again, prejudiced, very overweight and not so much aware of the world. They think they only learn about American history in the history lessons. So there's one side of Americans which would be really like, which are very educated and very well aware of things going on in the world and very responsible people. And the other side, what we see when we see Donald Trump on television here. So very split society. That's what we would see from Denmark. I would say movies is a big influence. We see a lot of American movies in Denmark and from the media in general. And I think even Danish journalists will try to find some stereotypes that fit the stereotypes we think we have. So it's something that keeps on going on its own. But whenever I travel there, I've been there quite a few times, I see something very different. I see people exactly the same as Danish people, no big differences.
When it comes to stereotypes, what are some of the stereotypes the Danish people have on Americans?
Maybe that they are very fast to say hello, how are you doing, and they don't really care. Because in Danish you wouldn't ask how are you doing unless you really mean it. You would ask in another way, but probably the Americans just use it as a phrase that some Americans don't know as much about what is going on in the world because they only are interested in what is going on in America.
When it comes to stereotypes, what are some of the stereotypes that Danish people have about Americans?
That they're not that intelligent, maybe. That Copenhagen is the capital of Scandinavia. That Europe is one country. I have a lot of American friends that travel around Europe in 10 days. Like every country has something different to offer. And I think that's a big stereotype that Americans think that Europe is like one place.
Any more stereotypes?
I've been to the States many times. Certain areas maybe in the States are a little bit more narrow-minded, but that's the same as here. You go to the countryside, people don't know that much about. Yeah, you have prejudice about Danish people as well, living up like outside of the cities.
What are some of the stereotypes the Danish people have about Americans?
Overweight, most of them. Maybe a tiny bit ignorant and not very welcoming towards other cultures than their own.
Eating a lot of junk food and don't exercise much.
A big difference between the Americans, they like to be maybe the center of the conversation, where Danes can be a little bit more quiet.
What are some stereotypes that Danish people have on Americans?
I think gun wielding would be one of them. Overly religious, borderlining fanatic. Racism, I think, is a big thing in our view of America.
When it comes to stereotypes, what are some of the stereotypes Danish people have about Americans?
About Americans, they're fat, they're dumb, they have ridiculous laws.
When you say ridiculous laws, what kind of laws are you talking about?
Well, laws like most people here in Denmark would argue that the gun laws in the States generally are quite dumb, stupid.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know, like there are a lot of murders, like mass shootings, that you constantly hear about, but there's still like free guns in some states, as far as I understand, so it seems a bit strange.
The difference between us and American people is that you concentrate a lot on winning, on actually making it. Or at least our interpretation of the American dream is that's the cultural difference where we might stop at just 2 stories below the top. You guys have to build 3 stories above the top, and then you're content.
So where'd you get these stereotypes from?
I think most is from mass media, obviously entertainment, movies, TV, but also the kind of news you get here from America are very narrow. They're not. I've read the same news stories on American, maybe local newspaper sites, and what you'd get from European mainstream. And there's a world of difference. There's far more details in your own coverage of your own. There's a lot of cultural differences or historical differences that just doesn't play in when we get the news. The American presidential campaign right now is an obvious candidate for examples like that, because when we see it, it's very black and white. I think everybody has a fear of Trump, probably a fear of Republicans in general. I think most Danes don't really have a clue about how the average American is, or probably how similar we are. so we are extremely influenced by media.